If you look down and you see a big old belly and you're thinking, I've had enough of this, then this training is for you. Today, I'm going to share how one of my clients, Mark, completely transformed his body and confidence in 2 months, despite being in his mid-40s, nearly mid-40s, busy schedule, kids, work nights, very limited knowledge in terms of training and exercise. And the best part is that he didn't have to spend hours in the gym. In fact, he trained for less than 4 hours per week. He didn't follow extreme diets. So stick with me for the next few minutes. I'm going to go into great detail about what he did, so then you can do it too. When Mark first reached out to me, he was stuck. In his own words, he got tired of looking and feeling a mess. I've got a fat belly, I've got man boobs and tiny arms and shoulders. He'd actually started going to the gym about 5 weeks before speaking to me initially. And whilst he'd been working hard, he'd realised he hadn't got a clue what he was doing. He didn't know how to achieve his goals. He'd paid for a few personal training sessions with somebody attached for the gym, but they didn't understand him or really understand what his issues were, and they couldn't really help him. His job, it involved crazy shift patterns, which made it hard to prioritise fitness. And like many men in his 40s, he was at the point where he didn't really know what to do. He knew he couldn't really train like he used to. It wasn't too late for him to then make a change, but he didn't really know how to make the appropriate changes so he could see the results. The thing is though, it's not his age, it's not his genetics holding him back. It was the approach he'd been following or not following. You hear keto diet, Weight Watchers, Lighter Life, P90X, although that's a bit of an old reference now, isn't it? CrossFit, F45. These are training programs that might work for some, but Mark needed a program that fit around his life, not trying to fit his life around a specific program. So this is where my Reignite training program came in, and this is how we approached it with Mark. Number one, the best part, to be honest, my favourite bit, and that's the training. It's the training that provides the stimulus to the body to change. We had a conversation to start with about what equipment did he have available, what injuries does he have, what is the things that he enjoys. It turned out that he enjoyed working with cables more so than dumbbells. However, in the gym that he trained at, it got quite busy and the cables weren't always accessible. So we needed to build a plan that worked around, one, his schedule, because he worked nights some weeks and days the next and late the next. And we needed to build a plan around the things that he enjoyed. And we needed to build a plan around where he was training, because sometimes he was training in a leisure centre gym and other times he was training in the work gym, and the equipment that we had in each one was different. When he was short on time, we adjusted the training sessions. Initially, we focused on 3 full body sessions per week. And we later increased that to 4 sessions per week. And the reason why we increased it to 4 is because he was finding it hard to get all the work done in one session. So he only had a limited amount of time in a particular day, but he found that we could potentially train more frequently. So we basically took the work that we were doing over 3 sessions and divided it into 4. We incorporated exercises that he enjoyed, because enjoyment is a massive part of consistency. And that is one of the main things that I am looking for when it comes to training, is that how can we make this person in front of me consistent? How can they keep doing it time and time again? So enjoyment is a huge factor. Tying in with that, we chose exercises that didn't hurt him, for one, and didn't aggravate any old injuries. We selected exercises that he could perform with good technique. It sounds so simple, but often when guys are in their 40s, they may have done exercises in the past. Back squats, for example, with a barbell on its back. And in fact, I have got back squats in Mark's latest program. However, we didn't start with that, because guys in their 40s often think, right, well, in my 20s, I did back squats. And you probably couldn't perform a squat with the bar on your back correctly back in your 20s. 20 years of not doing much activity, why do you think you can perform it now? So we used exercises that he could perform really well with good technique. Didn't require too much brain power, through things like a leg press, a split squat. We start with exercises he can perform, because there's nothing worse than walking into the gym and feeling uncomfortable because it's a new experience, and feeling uncomfortable because you don't know how to do the exercise. So we started with exercises he could perform and then progress over time, because progression, increasing weight, increasing reps, performing it with better technique, feeling the muscles a little bit more, all these things add up to progression over time, and it's progression that will see your body change. This is an area where many guys go wrong. You pick a program offline, you stick to it, well, you try to stick to it. You don't change the weights stay the same, nothing adapts, nothing changes, and you get stale. You don't see the results that you want, and then you just stop going. So enjoyment was a factor in the training, making sure that you progress, so we could see the weights go up, the reps increase. Even in the app that I use, if you hit a milestone, a personal best, it pops up with a little medal. You know, all these little things to encourage consistency, because that's really important. So you're probably thinking, yeah, Paul, I know training is important, but it's the food I struggle with. And 9 times out of 10, that is the same for every guy that I train. I can get to the gym, but I struggle with food. I struggle with drinking on a business lunches. I struggle with planning my food. I struggle with eating too much. Maybe it's portion control. Maybe I don't drink enough water. Maybe, and the list goes on. So instead of extreme diets, we focused on some simple strategies. And for Mark, I suggested that he track his food. And I gave him a calorie target and a protein target. We didn't get bogged down in how many macros he should be hitting, what percentage he should be hitting. I gave him a rough target to aim for. What that target was just under 2,000. And that wasn't based off any calorie calculator. It was based off kind of what he was currently eating, how much weight he'd gained over the last few months and years, and my experience of working with guys who are very similar to position to Mark over the years. So we give him a calorie target that as long as he hit that on average, so some days could be lower, then that was cool, that was okay. And then further down the line, I gave him a protein target. In the background, I had an idea of, I was tracking his protein just to make sure that he was hitting the mark that I wanted him to hit. And for him, somebody who was 90 kilos to start with, I was ideally trying to get that 120, 130, 140 grams of protein per day. But the most important thing for him at this moment in time, day one, was the calorie target. But I didn't just then leave him to his own devices and just say, right, just hit the target and just however you want, because he didn't have the knowledge to be able to do that. So we set simple guidelines like eat breakfast, eat lunch, eat dinner, and the snack. We looked at what he was currently doing. He was currently eating the HelloFresh meals with his family. So we decided that that was going to be the best option for him on the meals, because he didn't want to rock the apple cart too much. So keeping the same family meals would be a good option for him. So we kept those. So then we needed to look at the breakfast and the lunches. What he currently ate, in the nicest possible way, was pretty crap. So we needed to increase the protein on the meals and help him improve his recovery for training, help give him more energy. So not just protein, we're looking at good sources of carbohydrates and good sources of fats. And it needed to be convenient. So the best option that we decided upon, I say we because we worked together, I gave him some options, he came back and said yes, no. He was busy at work, hasn't got much time, so using something like, we use prepped pots on this occasion. Get your prep pots in, and they're just ready meals, high protein, minimally processed food. Stick them in the microwave for 3 minutes were a good option for him. So I didn't give him a specific macro target. I didn't give him a meal plan to follow. We looked at what was going to be the easiest thing for him to do. We gave him a rough calorie target, which as long as he was hitting that within reason, and we were seeing the results that we wanted, and the results that we wanted were the weight on the scales and the waist measurements dropping down week by week. If that didn't, what we would have done is assessed his food diary and made some appropriate changes. We gave him some meal ideas, not necessarily following a strict meal plan, and a basic structure. I was very adamant that he would plan his food because he had no planning before. He didn't plan what he was going to eat. So he needed to plan ahead of time what he was going to eat. If you plan ahead of time, it makes it easier for you to actually implement it. So we've got tracking food, we're hitting a calorie target. We've got a rough idea about how much protein he was eating. He wasn't that aware of it, I was just keeping an eye on it. He'd got a basic meal structure, breakfast, lunch, dinner, focusing on protein and really meals that were easy for him to prepare, and then a snack. And then at the weekend, if he wanted to eat more, he could eat more, as long as over in the week we balanced out under 2,000 calories on average per day. And in my opinion, the tracking piece, whilst it is a bit of a pain initially, it really does allow you that flexibility to be able to eat within reason what you want, as long as you hit it within a certain amount of calories. So the third piece of the puzzle really was the accountability piece. This was a game changer. I could have just said to Mark, right, here is a training program, hit your calories, hit your meal plan, away you go. But like most people, Mark did have a few wobbles, a few crises of confidence. You're doing this work and sometimes the weight on the scales doesn't drop. And there was one week in particular that the weight didn't drop. And he was looking at his meal plan, looking at his food diary, and he messaged me and said, Paul, something's not right here. My weight hasn't dropped. I've been good all week. What's happening? And then it requires someone like myself, we've got the experience and the knowledge behind me to say, actually, that's cool. Look at what happened the previous week. It dropped quite considerably. The body weight loss is not linear. We will not, for most cases, lose body fat every single week. Have you been doing all the things that you needed to be doing? And the answer was yes. Cool. Take a breath. It's okay. It's all right. You're doing what you need to be doing. Next week, you will see favorable changes in the measurements. Lo and behold, the next week, the weight on the scales dropped again. If that accountability piece wasn't there, then in that week, when he's having that wobble, that's when he could go off the rails. He's, oh, screw this. It's not working. I've worked so hard this week. My weight on the scales hasn't dropped down. Let's sack it all off. Does that sound familiar? Just 2 days before I recorded this, Mark messaged me. His knee was playing up and he was on a particular exercise. So what we're going to do now is we're going to look at the exercises that are potentially causing it to be aggravated, and then we're going to make some adjustments. We're going to take those exercises out of the program. We're going to put different ones in there. If you didn't have that accountability, that coach helping him make the adjustments, what could have happened, and you've probably gone through this yourself, something aggravates, you either stop training completely or you just go, right, I'm going to man up, I'm going to push through it. And then you hurt yourself even more. And then what happens? You have 2 weeks off training and you fall out of the habit again. So the third piece, that accountability piece, is important. There's sometimes life gets in the way and there should be no guilt or shame associated with reaching out and asking for help. All along the way, it is important that Mark and potentially yourself knows that I am there to assist, guide, give you a pat on the back, give him a kick up the backside when needed. Because just having the knowledge of the training, what to do, and just having the knowledge of what to eat will only get you so far. Having somebody there who knows what you're going through, who knows what to do if things don't go to plan, that's the secret sauce. In just 2 months, Mark has lost over 12 kilos, and God knows how much he's lost from his waist. His strength has gone through the roof. He's gained energy and confidence to just tackle his day. And most importantly, he didn't just change his body, he changed how he felt about himself. In his words, I'm beyond proud of the difference. It makes me feel even more embarrassed that I ever looked like that. It's felt so easy to change, and I don't really feel like I've even had to try. I would never have done it without your help, mate. I'm really excited to see how much better I can get over the coming months. So that was an awesome message to wake up to on a Monday morning. So that's great for him, but can you really do this? You know, That might be the question that you're asking yourself. Let me address a few just kind of common concerns. Number one, don't have the time. I'm really busy, I've traveled for work, and I've got family, I haven't got time to be training. That's exactly why my training program is designed to fit around your work schedule. You tell me what you've got in terms of time and I'll make it fit. So number two, you might not sure whether you can see the results. This is where the accountability comes in. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. Not everybody is the same, and people lose weight or build muscle and gain fitness at different rates. But I make the adjustments based on my knowledge. I've been a trainer for the last 20 years, and my knowledge and my experience, I'll make the adjustments to ensure that you keep progressing. Thirdly, it's too late for me, I'm too old. What a load of bullcrap. It's not, is it? It's never too late. Your body is capable of incredible things regardless of how old you are. At the time of recording this, I am 43. I'm hanging on to that because I'm 44 in about 3 days' time. It's never too late. There's always things you can improve. Just because you were fit in the past doesn't mean you can't be fit again. So that's it. So when you're ready to stop spinning your wheels and start actually seeing results, like Mark and a lot of my other clients, click the link below and I'm going to book in for a chat. This chat is not about giving you the hard sell. It's just understanding a little bit about where you currently are and where you want to get to. And then if we think it's right, we can have a discussion about joining my program. And my Reignite program is not about quick fixes. It's about sustainable progress, about working smarter, using our brains, not necessarily beasting yourself. We're going to build strength. We're going to lose fat. We're going to look better. We're going to feel better. So you feel confident in your 40s and for years to come. So don't wait for someday. Don't wait for Monday. Click the link. We'll have a chat and we'll take it from there.